I'll give 1 second. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Megan Obreys. I am one of the academic advisors in the Academic Achievement Center here at Bridgewater State. I'm joined today by Matt. I'm going to give Matt a second to introduce himself.
Hey everybody, my name is Matt Kaskowski. I'm also an academic advisor in the AAC. Um, sorry, Megan's going to be presenting. I'm going to be manning the chat today. So if you have questions as we're going through, feel free to type them into the chat and I will get you an answer. I'll also be posting a bunch of helpful links there, so keep your eye on the chat and take a look at those links for extra resources.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. So to get us started, again, welcome everybody to Bare Essentials for Academic Success. As Matt said, we will be putting some information into the chat today. The chat can be accessed through, there's like a chat bubble kind of near the top of your screen. If you want to go ahead and click on that, you'll be able to see the information that Matt is posting for us today. One thing we will ask is if you could please mute your mic, just so that way we keep all the background noise to a minimum. Cameras are not required, but you are more than welcome to keep it on. It is nice to see smiling faces, so it's up to you. A couple other things, just if you're new to Microsoft Teams, similar to other video conference platforms, if you see a slash through your mic, we can't hear you. If you see a slash through the camera icon, we also can't see you. So that's just some information. As Matt said, he'll be in the chat. So if any questions come up over the course of the presentation, please feel free to put those questions in the chat. There will be an opportunity at the end to unmute your mic and ask those questions if you choose. There's also a raise hand feature if you feel like you want to ask your question at that time. We will monitor that, but it's not required. So certainly feel free to put any questions in the chat, and Matt can either field them or we can stop and take a second to address them. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So here's what we're going to be covering today. First, we're going to be introducing you to the advising team. So who are we lovely people who are here to help you out in your first semester at BSU? Then I'll give you a little bit of insight on what we do, what we help you with. So we'll go into a little bit of that. Then I'm going to take some time to talk about the graduation requirements. So one of the big things that advisors help with is understanding these graduation requirements. So we'll talk kind of a high level looking at those. And then we're going to help you prepare for your first semester. So we'll have some advice for you and some other information that might be helpful as you start classes next week. All right, so first I want to introduce you to our 16-member advising team. You've hopefully met with one of these lovely smiling individuals already, and hopefully you'll have a little bit of familiarity with somebody. What's great is we're all here to help you out. So you will be assigned an advisor at the very start of the semester. So you're going to get an email kind of within the first couple weeks of the semester from your advisor letting you know that they are here to support you. If you have questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to that academic achievement at bridgew.edu. That's the same account that sent you all of the advising information that you first received from us in that welcome email. So don't hesitate to send questions there in the meantime. So this is the advising team. So what do we do? What do we help you with? The biggest thing to know is that we truly are here to support you. This is your degree, this is your education, but we are guides. We are guides to help you throughout all of this, understand kind of the ins and outs. Like I said before, we can help you understand your graduation requirements and your degree requirements. So that's everything you need to complete in order to graduate from BSU. We'll talk a little bit about that today, but we continue the conversation throughout your first semester as well. Then we also help you acclimate to college life. So college is a lot different from your high school experience. There is a lot more independence. Classes are going to be quite a bit different. Professor expectations are going to be different from your high school teacher's expectations. So it can be a very different transition into the college environment. And we're here to help you acclimate to that. It is certainly a change, and we understand that. So at any time, if you have any questions or concerns about your classes or how you're performing in classes, we're here to help you throughout that. We're also here to help you find the major that's right for you. So hopefully, maybe you've thought a little bit about your major, maybe you haven't. We just want to make sure that you're choosing something that is, connecting with your interests and your passions, and that is something that you are able to do well in and earn that degree in the end. So we can help you explore options or talk about kind of the ins and outs of the major you selected. So that's one of the other functions that we have as well. And one of the biggest things that we find ourselves doing is connecting you with a variety of different resources on campus. So whether it's academic assistance, specifically content-specific help through tutoring, or maybe you need help in other areas of your classes through academic coaching, maybe you have some sort of learning or medical accommodation that you need and you want to connect with student accessibility services. Maybe you have a question about your FAFSA, your financial aid information. Or maybe there's an office on campus who you could use some assistance from, like Career Services or the Counseling Center or any number of others. We have a number of other great student clubs and organizations, other awesome opportunities on campus that you should take advantage of as well. So we know a lot about these different areas and a lot of these different offices and places for you to take advantage of. So we're happy to connect you and introduce you to these different places to help you do well in your courses and have the best college experience that you can at BSU. Ultimately, the biggest thing to know is we are truly here to support you. So if you ever have any questions or you just want to connect with somebody and kind of talk about your experience so far, that's what we're here for. So we've talked a little bit about advisors and what we do to help you out, and we will certainly continue that conversation, continue meeting with you throughout the semester. But let's talk about graduation requirements and kind of what does it mean what do you have to do in order to graduate from BSU? We use the analogy of your degree as a pie. So think of the pie, it has a number of different ingredients within it. The ingredients for your degree include 120 credits and a 2.0 minimum GPA requirement. So as far as credits go, credits can be a little bit confusing because you're like, I have classes, like how many classes do I have to take in order to graduate? Well, that's going to depend, but in order to graduate in the end, you need 120 credits. Most classes, what you're going to see are 3 credits. We do have 1 credit classes, we have 4 credit classes, and that's kind of what a credit is it's like the number of hours that you're in class throughout the week. So if you're in a 3 credit class, you can kind of expect to be in class or working on that specific in-course material for 3 hours throughout the week, not counting like homework and all that type of thing. So in the end, when you graduate, you need 120 of those credits overall. You also have a minimum GPA requirement of a 2.0. But one thing we do want to note is that some degrees do require a higher GPA requirement. So for example, I work with a lot of education majors like early childhood, elementary education, so on. They have a higher GPA requirement of a 2.8. I know our psychology majors have a higher GPA requirement, social work majors. There are others certainly that come to mind, and we'll introduce you to that and how to find out if your major does require a higher GPA. But just know overall across the board, everyone must have a minimum 2.0 in order to graduate. So your pie has the ingredients of 120 credits and a 2.0 GPA or higher. But there are certainly many more parts to your degree. So we break it into kind of 3 portions, and I'll talk about each of these in more detail. So the first is the core curriculum. Then we have what's the major requirements. And then what we have is called electives. So let's talk about each of these in a little bit more detail. But ultimately, all of these areas are going to add up to your degree. The core curriculum. So essentially, the biggest thing to know about the core is that everyone, regardless of your major, has to complete the core requirements. They're made up of a variety of different areas. I like to think of the core kind of like those general education requirements that you need to complete to graduate. So there are classes like your English 101, your English 102. You can see the first year seminar, logical reasoning, math reasoning, and then what we call these distribution requirements. So I like to describe the distribution requirements kind of like categories of classes. So there are some examples here: the fine and performing arts, the humanities, natural sciences, and social and behavioral sciences are kind of the big distribution areas. We'll certainly go into much more detail later on what these are and how many of these classes you need to take and so on. But just know, everybody, regardless of your major, has to take these. And what you're also going to find is that most of the classes that you're taking in your first semester, and actually over the course of your first year, are going to be core classes. But you're probably asking, like, I have a major in mind, or, I'm really only focused on this one career area. Why do I have to take the core? Well, we find that it's helpful for you as a person to be exposed to a variety of different subjects and areas. And so you may be a biology major, but it's good for you to have exposure to any type of humanities classes like history and English, or fine and performing arts classes like music or arts. Um, so you can encounter these different areas outside of your major. Really, what this helps you learn is what we call transferable skills. So transferable skills are those things that employers are definitely looking for in their employees. It's going to help you in your future career, regardless of what that career is. These transferable skills are things like communicating, writing, being adaptable to changing environments and changing work expectations. Being able to collaborate and work with others. There are so many different types of transferable skills you'll get out of the core curriculum. The list goes on and on, but that's going to benefit you later on, and not just the content specific knowledge you're gaining through your major, but in these core areas. Um, it also helps you build skills to become a valuable community member. So really being exposed to kind of diverse ideas and diverse viewpoints gives you a much more informed and well-rounded viewpoint of your own. So we find that, helps you be more valuable, more engaged citizen. So that's really the benefits to you for doing the core curriculum. So the major, I know the major is definitely an important point in what many people are focusing on, but everybody has to declare a major. And we want you to do that by the end of your sophomore year to graduate on time. And on time is going to be different for everybody. Really, BSU has 80 majors for you to choose from, which is a lot of different options if you truly aren't sure. We want you to choose a major that you're interested in, but also something that you can do well in. So maybe you've actually declared your major, or maybe you've declared your major and you're not really sure about it, or maybe you just really aren't sure and are coming in undecided and ready to explore. All of those are great. You're in an excellent position right now to be either evaluating the major you're in, learning more about it, seeing what types of courses you're going to be taking, what you can be learning through that major, or exploring all of the different options that are available to you through the 80 different majors. If you're not sure either of the major you've declared, or you're undecided and you truly just don't know where to begin, that's okay. That's why we're here. The AAC advisors are here to help you explore those different options. To give you an idea of what I usually do with the students who are undecided, we'll start by kind of looking at the list of offerings we have available to you. We'll narrow down the ones that you're like, yes, absolutely not. I do not want to do, history or math or whatever it might be. We'll take that smaller list and actually start diving deeper into what the different requirements, course requirements are, what you'll be studying, what your interests were in high school, or what are some of the topics and things that you like to do in your free time. And we'll really kind of dive deep into that and see, can we get you towards exploring? Could you take classes in a specific area? Maybe taking a class in management would help you decide if you want to be a management major or so on. So the major is quite a large chunk of that degree requirements in addition to the core curriculum. But let's talk about these electives, because they certainly are something that can come into play for many students. So after completing the core and the major requirements, that doesn't always come out to 120 credits. And remember, you need that 120 credits in order to graduate. So what's going to happen with some people is that they're going to need additional credits, and we call these electives. You might hear free electives also thrown around. So there are a number of different ways to fulfill that 120 credits. In some cases, some students will just choose to take any courses. Maybe they have liked classes in a variety of different subjects, and to fulfill the remainder of their credit requirement to graduate, they'll take any classes they really feel like after they've completed their core and their major. Maybe some students want to focus those extra credits towards a particular area, and that's where students might declare a minor in that case. We certainly don't require minors at BSU, so they are an option to you, and this is an area where a minor would come in handy. But some students may not need a, you know, a free elective credits. I know our education majors are required to declare 2 majors. Maybe that's something somebody who isn't required to declare 2 majors might be interested in, you know, maybe you have an interest in psychology and history, so you want to be both a psychology and a history major. Maybe you have the room to do that to meet the 120 credits to graduate. I know there are some larger majors such as the business management, the management major, or maybe a biology major. They may not necessarily need the elective credits in order to graduate. So you're not going to see any elective credits on your schedule right now. This isn't something you have to worry about quite yet, but just know it is an option that you'll want to be aware of kind of for the future. All right, so that's kind of a snapshot of what the graduation requirements are. Again, we're going to go into much more depth on all of this throughout the spring semester, so there is certainly more to come on that. But let's get you ready for the start of classes and the start of the spring semester. So let's talk about why you're taking some of the classes that you're taking. How do these classes fit into your pie? Every one of your schedules is going to be unique to you. It's going to be based off of the placements that you completed for your English and math courses, and it's also going to depend on your major. So that's going to dictate kind of which courses you end up taking. But you're going to see some sort of combination of the following list of classes. So you have some sort of English class, whether it's English 101E, English 101, or English 102. Again, that's depending on where you placed with your English writing sample. You might have a first year seminar, depending on which English class you fell into. The hope is that you have a math class as well. Again, that is very specific to your placement as well as your major. So we've kind of guided you towards which one you would start with. You might have some sort of major course, kind of depending on what your major is. Some majors don't require you to start with their intro level courses. Other ones really want you to start off with like the intro level courses. If you have a major course, excellent. Maybe you have a combination of core distribution classes. So you added some sort of fine and performing arts or humanities or social behavioral science instead. But you might also have the public speaking requirement. So that's either the COM 102, Intro to Public Speaking, or the Theater 210 Oral Interpretation class. Maybe you have the logical reasoning requirement. That's one of 3 different classes listed here as well. So there can be any combination of these classes. If you find you're not taking a class on this list, don't worry, you are going to be taking one at some point. But the hope is you've talked with somebody about your schedule and we've made sure that everything checks all the boxes to get you started on the right foot. Ultimately, all of the classes that you're taking are going to fall into your pie. We would not let you take any classes that are not going to meet any of the graduation requirements. So you're well on track there. Speaking of making sure you're on the right track, we want to make sure that you are registered and ready to go for the spring. So first of all, if you have actually registered for classes and you've had your appointment with an advisor and they have approved your schedule, you're all set. You're good to go. Your schedule is set. You're ready for the start of classes next week. If you've registered, but you haven't yet met with an academic advisor, we ask you to please schedule your advising appointment via Academia as soon as possible. The reason we do this is because we want to make sure that your schedule is on track and that you are taking all courses that will help you make good progress with your major and based off of your placements and everything. Matt has put the link to Academia in the chat, so please schedule your appointment as soon as possible. If you are experiencing issues with accessing Academia or navigating the site, please hang tight at the end of the presentation and we can certainly help guide you through scheduling that appointment. And if you find yourself here and you haven't yet registered or met with an advisor, we really want you to start by looking at the email we sent to you. It's going to be from academicachievement@bridgew.edu with the subject line advising welcome email. We really put all the details you need to know, including some course recommendations and a variety of different registration resources. We have a whole website Matt has put together with a lot of helpful video tutorials and instructions for you to start registering on your own. But if you find you're just lost by the details in that email, please schedule an appointment on Academia and we can help you out. So the hope is you have your schedule, you're good to go, everything, you've met with an advisor, everything's all set. Let's talk about how to actually view your schedule. I know you can log into the register for classes page like you did to actually register for classes and view that schedule, but there's actually a couple of other areas that you can find it. So first, if you went onto InfoBear and you go to the student tab and then go to your student profile, on that left-hand side, you'll probably have either a gray box or maybe you've submitted your student ID photo already. Maybe that's posted on your student profile. In that bottom left-hand menu, you're going to see student schedule and week at a glance. If you click on either of those, it will show you your schedule. So let's first look at what the student schedule looks like. The student schedule is very much a listing. It's not chronological in any way. It is truly just a list of the courses you're registered for. You can see the subjects, course numbers, the titles. You can also see how many credits you're taking next semester, any start and end dates for the classes, but most importantly, the days and times and the locations for the classes. So that's one way that you can look at, if you like to create your own schedule and you just need to know what days and times you're scheduled for, this is a good view to start with. But if you're more visual, you like to see kind of what the week will look like overall, you're going to want to click on the week at a glance view. I will preface though, it's going to pull up the first week of classes, and the first week of classes starts on a Wednesday. So you're not going to see your Monday and Tuesday schedule when you click on that. What you're going to need to do is click on the next week button in the upper right hand corner, and that will pull up the week starting January 24th, which is a full Monday through Friday schedule. And so you can see here, each of your classes is shown on the day that it's being held, as well as at the time. It also gives you the building and room location. So you can use this as a reference point as well. I will also mention, we don't have a slide on it, but you can also view your schedule within the BSU mobile app. So if you haven't yet downloaded the mobile app, it may be a good time to do that because you can easily pull up your schedule on there as well. All right, and you can see the Monday, Tuesday listed here. All right, so the hope is you have read President Clark's email that came through on Monday that explained kind of what the beginning of the semester will look like due to the COVID precautions. So January 19th through the 21st, so that's the first 3 days of classes, are going to be held remotely. So you will not be having classes in person on campus the 19th through the 21st. Classes are still scheduled to begin on that Wednesday, the 19th. That's a week from today, in case you're wondering. But you're going to have your classes held online. If you're planning to live on campus, that is still scheduled as it was previously. You will still be moving into the residence halls on time. So please, refer to Residence Life and Housing's emails. I believe they sent one out yesterday, notifying students of the procedures for that. Because classes are held remotely, there are a couple of different things you'll need to check on prior to the start, the first day of classes. You want to check your Blackboard account, and I'll talk about Blackboard in a second. And you also want to be keeping an eye on your BSU email. And what you're looking for is some sort of communication from each of your professors. Every instructor kind of does the remote situation differently. So what you'll want to look for is their specific instructions on how class is going to be held on those first couple days. And it's good, like I said, to check both your BSU email and your Blackboard account. Then in-person classes are going to begin Monday, January 24th. So the first time you will be taking classes in person, if you have those on your schedule, is on Monday, January 24th. So From there on out, all classes will be held in the same exact format that is listed on your schedule currently. So you won't see a change for that first 3 days of classes. It's still going to list that it's in person, but you will not be showing up to campus or in person for your classes the 19th through the 21st. I hope that makes sense, but we can certainly field any questions that you may have towards the end of the presentation. But let's talk about what that format of your schedule will look like starting on the 24th. There are a variety of different ways that classes are held, and we want to make sure you have a full picture and understanding of what those look like. So the first type of style of class that you'll see on your schedule is an in-person class. So these in-person classes are physically held on campus in a specified location on your schedule. It will have specific days and times and locations listed on the schedule. You have to be present in the class during those days and times to engage in the class with your professor and your classmates. One thing that will come up recurring throughout all of this is that know that your professor is available for additional support either through email, during scheduled office hours, or by appointment. So just know if you can connect with your professor in person, but know that they are available outside of core classes in a variety of different manners as well. When you're looking at your InfoBear schedule, particularly the student schedule view, what you're going to see is in this green box down here. You'll have a day and time listed. So the example we have up here on the screen is a general biology lab that meets on Tuesdays, 9:30 to 12:15, and it meets physically on campus in the Dana Multifarious Science and Math Center in DMF room 492, I believe, is that what that says? There's also this Biology for Life course that meets on R is Thursday, just so everybody is aware. So it meets on Thursday, 9:30 to 10:45, also in the Dana Multifarious Science and Math Center in room 494. So that is how an in-person class will look like on your schedule. We have a couple different styles of online classes that may show up on some schedules. The first is the synchronous online class. So for synchronous online classes, students are expected to meet at a specific day and time with their classmate and their professor, but it's going to be on some sort of virtual learning platform. In most cases, I think what we're seeing is Zoom is a common synchronous course area. So in this case, the professor will have set out some sort of Zoom link for the course. Couple ways to notice how this class is if you have one of these classes on your schedule. The example we have here is a Math 122 SO2. That SO2, the S means synchronous, but the biggest important point is looking in the red box on the right-hand side. This has a specific Tuesday and Thursday, 9:30 to 10:45, but the location is online web. So that online web tells you that it's going to be in some sort of virtual format, but it has a specific day and time that you have to meet. So if you have a synchronous course on your schedule or something that looks similar to this, you will want to look for that login link, or whether it's a Zoom or Google Classroom or any number of other video conferencing platforms. The important thing to note on synchronous classes, you have to be virtually present for that class to engage in the class content and the different activities with the class. So it is very important that even though it is virtual, that you are attending every course. Again, same with the in-person classes, your professor is available for additional support outside of class, either through email, different office hours, or by appointment. The second type of online course is what we call asynchronous. So these are a little bit special because there is not a specific day and time that you need to meet with the professor. So it's going to be a little bit more free form and flexible in that case. So you will engage with the course information, course content on your own, and you're going to be completing assignments and things by the deadline that's been set out by the professor. I like to describe it a little bit like an independent study, but your professor is guiding you through the course, kind of in the background. These classes are particularly nice because they're flexible. You do have kind of a chance to build your own schedule with that. But it is important for you to build your own schedule because you are dictating when the coursework is getting done. There isn't going to be somebody there kind of sitting on your shoulder reminding you to complete the work, which some people really like. They like the independent aspect of this. So we highly recommend anybody, especially if it's your first time taking an asynchronous course, that you create your own schedule to get the work done and are keeping track of any deadlines and things that have been set out for you. In the same sense as the others, your professor is still there. Your professor is still there to support you outside of the course environment. So you can reach them through email, again, scheduled office hours and by appointment. I know we're stressing this a lot, but that's how important it is. If you ever have any questions about the course content, especially in an asynchronous course, that you reach out to the professor and ask those questions or connect with them in some manner to make sure you do understand the content. This will look like on your schedule. You'll see it has this TBA listed where a day and time would typically be listed. That TBA does not mean that the university is going to eventually put a day and time on there for you. That TBA means that you are determining when you're completing the coursework. So TBA can be a little deceiving, but just know that means it's an asynchronous class. It will also indicate online web as well. So it's kind of that twofold of the TBA with the online web. Again, there won't be a particular schedule of when you're completing things or attending class. You are doing it kind of on your schedule. And finally, the last format that you may see on your schedule is what we call hybrid course. So this kind of, like its name implies, has a combination of the in-person and the online format. So there will be a specific date and time listed on the student schedule. But in addition to that particular class meeting time, you're going to be expected to complete coursework independently on your own. So there will be due dates set out and everything for that type of content. It's, again, with a hybrid class, it's also important that you kind of create your own schedule for getting the work done because even though you have that in-person meeting, which is great for accountability purposes, and I know sometimes the face-to-face contact with your professor and classmates is helpful, it's also easy to fall behind and miss out on the information that you are not keeping up with in person. So a schedule is also important with a hybrid course. And yet again, we'll say your professor is available to help you in a number of different ways outside of class. And we say this because if you're having any questions, concerns, worries about your performance in your class or the content in your class, your professor is truly the best person to start with to either ask your questions or see how you can improve in the course. So just know there's a number of different ways that you can reach them. And all of them will have their office hours listed in some way on their syllabus at the start of classes. So it's important to kind of make note of that as well. Okay, so that's the formats of the class and what you can expect when looking at your schedule. I get a lot of questions from students about textbooks and, it's an understandable question. You're responsible for purchasing your textbooks. So how would you even know like what books to get and where to get them? What's great is on InfoBear, there's actually a very simple link that will direct you to our online bookstore website. So when you log on to InfoBear, again, go to that student tab, but don't click on the student profile icon this time. Go down to the bottom of the list and you'll see this buy books at eFollett. And that will direct you to our bookstore's online website. The hope is, I believe it pulls up your courses right then and there. You can log in or input the course information and pull up the books for your courses. If you're a planner like me and like to know what classes you're buying or be able to budget for those textbooks now, it should be open and available for you. And I believe you can actually purchase the book straight on the bookstore's website at this moment. But just know your professors will also talk about the book textbook information and will include that information on their syllabus as well. Maybe you also want to shop around. The course information you'll want to look for when you click on that link is an ISBN number, so you can use that on a variety of different websites to shop around, find best prices, maybe find used books. And renting books is a very common and cost-efficient way to manage your textbooks as well. So look around and see what's available. I know there's a variety of different textbook rental websites out there. The bookstore itself even rents out books. So look at all of your options and kind of think how you're going to be getting these books later on. Another thing to point out is we do understand that textbooks are quite expensive, and that's why renting is an option and used books are also available out there. But what you'll also want to just give you kind of a heads up on is sometimes there are different financial assistance available to you specifically for your textbooks. All you have to do is ask. So, please let us know if that is kind of a challenge for you. We don't want you to fall behind in your courses only because you couldn't afford your textbooks. So please, ask either an advisor or you can reach out to Academic Achievement and we can direct you to the folks who can, or even better, we can connect you with financial aid. The financial aid office may be an even better resource if you do need any types of assistance. So that's textbooks. Hopefully that answered any questions you might have had or lingering. I would say if you are going to wait until the semester begins for your textbooks, don't wait too long because the longer you wait, the further behind you may fall. So really within the first week to 2 weeks, you will definitely want to have those textbooks on hand. All right, so your BSU email is a really important tool that you'll need to know about. Really, we really want students to be checking your email early and often. Clearly, you're all here today, so you've been checking your BSU email. We appreciate that deeply. What I would encourage you to do, well, first I'll say that the reason we want you to be checking your BSU email is because email is our official means of communication at BSU. So we use this truly as the first way to try and get in contact with you. So obviously you've been receiving emails from us in Academic Achievement. Your advisor will continue to use your email as their direct way to contact you. Your professors will use your email to contact you of important announcements, and that's why we say, it's important to check that, especially for the first few days of classes in the remote format. Also, there was another point I was going to say about the email. I don't want you to just be checking your email, but I think it's really important to actually read the emails that come through. And that may seem silly, but I think sometimes it's a little intimidating when you open an email and it's a long paragraph or a few paragraphs. But I think that the information in that email was done purposefully to help answer any questions you might have, or to help direct you, especially because you're going into your first semester. There's a lot to learn. So please take the time to read through those emails as well. You'll eventually learn how to sort your own email and understand how to organize your inbox. But speaking on that point, Microsoft Outlook tries to help you organize your inbox, and it does that through these two different tabs, the Focus tab and the Other tab. The Focus tab, it identifies as kind of those most important emails. So just be sure that you're checking both of those tabs to make sure you're not missing anything important. It kind of does it on its own. It takes a little learning, but just be sure you're not missing anything and check that other tab every once in a while. All right, so I mentioned Blackboard before, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about Blackboard so you know where to find it and what it is. So you will want to check your Blackboard as well. Some professors may be updating students about the remote format the first 3 days through their email, or they may be posting, I think they have course announcement options on Blackboard. So Blackboard is our learning management tool. You can access it through the student portal. Matt has also put a direct link in the chat if you want to open that and bookmark it for yourself. But if you go onto the MyBSU student portal to access your email, it's right there at the top of the page. So you can click that link, same place you find InfoBear. There's different announcements from the university are posted on there as well, so it's a good place to go. But Blackboard itself, each of your courses are going to have a site on Blackboard. So Blackboard's going to be the place that you submit assignments. You may take take some exams or quizzes through Blackboard. There might be different reading assignments posted on Blackboard or discussion posts that you have to complete through there. There's a number of different ways your professors will be utilizing Blackboard. Some of them, you know, you have some unique ways of using it. So just be sure that you're checking each of your courses. Some use it a little more heavily than others, so I will certainly preface with that. But just know that it is a really important tool for you to utilize, especially in the start of the semester, because your professor may be posting the course syllabus to the Blackboard, and that is really kind of the map to your class. All the information you need to know about your class is going to be in that course syllabus. So Blackboard, if you try logging in right now and you're not seeing any of your courses listed, don't panic. That's okay. It's done purposefully. You should be able to start accessing your courses through Blackboard starting the day before classes start, so next Tuesday, January 18th. And they will definitely all be up by the first start of classes. One other note, just to specify for those of you who might have a synchronous online course, you will for sure want to be checking your Blackboard and your email, but your Blackboard to see if the link to how your class is being held, whether that's a Zoom link or some other link the professor has set up, is going to be found on Blackboard. So just be sure to keep an eye out for that. All right, so that's your email, that's your Blackboard, a couple of very useful and necessary tools for the start of your semester. Let's take a look at what the rest of the semester, some timeline information that you need to be aware of. So like I said before, classes start on Wednesday, January 19th, a week from today. That is the first day. My hope is that the advisor you met with might have talked a little bit about this add drop period. So that is going to be taking place from Wednesday, January 19th, all the way through the following Wednesday, January 26th. And this is going to be a kind of a virtual add drop advising period. Now you're asking yourself, what is add drop? What is she talking about? Well, we have spent some time to really look closely at your individual schedule and worked with you to make sure you're in the right classes so you can stay on track towards your graduation and your degree goals. Hopefully your schedule's perfect and that you won't need any changes, but we understand that things happen or, you know, things come up or you have questions or concerns and you might need to make a change to your schedule. So that change can happen during the first week without any financial or other ramifications. So if you need to make a schedule adjustment, some of the reasons might be maybe you got your AP scores sent in and your credit was applied. Maybe you didn't have a schedule conflict with work before when you met with an advisor, but now you know you've updated your schedule or they've asked you to work on a specific day, so that's not going to work for your class schedule anymore. So you have some type of schedule conflict. Maybe you retook the math placement and have placed higher and now need to go into a different level math class. There's any number of reasons you might need to make a schedule adjustment. And that we just ask you to come and talk to one of us advisors before you do so. Again, this is just to make sure that you stay on track and there aren't any, you know, other changes that need to happen. And we can help you through that process. I also tell students, you know, you really want to pay attention to your schedule and your classes in that first week. If you have any concerns, questions, thoughts, just want to, you know, talk to somebody about it to see if you should stay in the class or if you should look for something different, come and talk to us. That's why we have this virtual drop-in advising in addition to schedule adjustments. So those are going to be virtual during the 19th to the 26th, so we'll be meeting through Microsoft Teams like we have been so far. But starting on Thursday, January 27th, we're going to offer both virtual and in-person appointments again. So it won't be until the 27th you'll be able to schedule an in-person appointment, but let's talk about how you actually attend all of these different appointments and things. During that 19th to the 26th, during add drop for your virtual appointments, it's a drop-in style. So what has been set up, actually Matt has set up a very nice system. When you log on to our advising BridgeNet site, there's going to be a daily sign-in link available for you to click if you need to talk with an advisor or make any adjustments to your schedule. So you will go to the advising BridgeNet site, and we will include that link here. you click the sign in link. It will bring you to our academia page. Follow any prompts, and then it will ask you to open Microsoft Teams or give you the option to open Microsoft Teams. You'll want to go to Microsoft Teams until you get the bare landing page. So it will give you prompt you with the link and everything. Once Teams is opened up and you see the bear, go ahead and sit tight. When an advisor is available, we will send you a chat through Microsoft Teams and to find out if you're ready to meet. So just respond to that chat and wait for the advisor to start the call. So that's how the drop-in will work. Click the sign-in link that's available on our BridgeNet site. Follow the prompts to start to go into Microsoft Teams. Hang tight, and then the advisor will reach out to you. After the 26th, so starting on the 27th, if you needed to meet with an advisor, and hopefully, we'll get your advisor assignments situated fairly quickly this semester, but we'll find out. We will have you schedule an appointment with an advisor. So we utilize Academia. Luckily, you've already utilized Academia if you've met with an advisor. So you may be familiar already with how the system works. Academia link is always available on our website. So you can access it at any time. All of our advisors keep their schedules up to date. So you don't have to reach out to your advisor through email to ask to make an appointment. You can certainly log in, although it's always appreciated to find out what you want to meet about. I always appreciate an email. So you will be required to schedule an appointment with an advisor if you need to meet with them. You will be given the option of not only the day and time that you want to meet, but also if you want an on-campus or virtual appointment. So you just need to select the specific format, and it will specify like on campus in the AAC or virtual online through Microsoft Teams video call. We also have the option where you could do a phone call if that's easier for you, but it's our preference to use Microsoft Teams if we can, just because it has a lot of different capabilities, like sharing our screens and things like that can come in handy. But if a phone call is really the only option you have available at that moment, you can specify that. There is a comment section before you confirm the appointment. So we just ask that you say, could I please do a phone call and include your phone number for us. So we'll send you more information about Academia and all of this and how to schedule your appointment. So just keep an eye out on your BSU email. Matt has also posted a few helpful links for you in the chat as well. So we have a set first year programming schedule set out for you that I just want to give you kind of a snapshot of what to look out for. You're going to have a number of one-on-one appointments with your advisor this semester. The first is going to be Intro to Advising from February 7th through the 11th. So during that week, you will meet one-on-one and we'll review the Intro to Advising information with you. So we'll go into depth of some of the different supports available to you on campus. Continue talking about some of the other help advising, how that works and everything like that. So that you'll want to keep an eye out for and be ready to schedule during that week in February. We also will have a registration basics session that you will do one-on-one with your advisor as well, and that will take place between March 28th and April 1st. That is a very important they're all important, but I will say registration basics, it goes into a lot of depth on the things you need to know about registering for not only the fall semester, but going forward into the future. So keep an eye out for more info on that. And then you will have a third appointment with your advisor in April, between April 4th and April 15th, and that's intended to prepare you and clear you to register for the spring semester. So more information will be coming up about all of these different things. Just keep an eye out. And like I said, these are 3 structured meetings with your advisor, but you are more than welcome to meet with your advisor at any point in time throughout the semester. So just know that option is available to you. All right, this is a lot of information, so I just want to pause for a second. How are you feeling at this moment? Are you excited to start classes? Do you feel really ready and just want to dive in? Are you nervous because it's something new? Are you a little anxious because that remote 3 days kind of has you a little bit worried? I really don't want you to worry. All of the feelings that you're feeling are completely valid, but we do have some advice to kind of help you along the way. First, there are a lot of different terms, not only at BSU, but in higher ed and college overall. So what's really great is there is an academic glossary set up. It starts it would go Z if we had any Z terms, but it goes A to W. Matt has put it together. It is an awesome resource for you to use. Think a little bit like if you've ever seen Schitt's Creek, this is why we have this meme up there. And they're going back and forth of like, what does fold in the cheese mean? Well, what does fold in the cheese mean? There's any number of those types of terms at BSU. Like, do you know who Bristico is? Well, that glossary will tell you. So this is a really helpful resource that you can, use to reference if something comes up and you're like, they're telling me to take a writing intensive class. What does that even mean? So Matt's put the link in the chat for you. Please feel free to reference that. It is a really, really great resource. But we also have a faculty advisor who has put together some awesome advice, not only for the start of classes, but like when you're in classes. So this is Dr. Alexandra Adams. She is a faculty member in the biology department. So she teaches biology courses, but she's also an academic advisor in the AAC. So she's excellent. She has a lot of, both different sides of knowledge base. So we have actually a quick video from her. It's about 10 minutes long. I'm going to share it now. I will just ask that you stick around towards the end of the video, just so we can finish up and answer any questions that you have. So let me just switch gears here. And let me do one thing. All right, here we go.
Hi, my name is Dr. Alexandra Adams. I teach in the biology department and I'm an advisor in the AAC, the Academic Achievement Center, and I'm also the pre-health advisor. First want to say congratulations on being accepted to Bridgewater State University. It's a very exciting time and welcome to your freshman year. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about how you can be successful academically. The first thing you should know about Bridgewater is we have an incredible number of resources. We are here to help you personally, professionally, academically. So know that we have the resources and all you have to do is ask your advisor, ask your RA, ask a professor about how to find resources and they'll can direct you to the right spot. Okay, so let's first just talk about how to be successful in classes, and then I'll talk about the specific resources that we have available. So the first thing you need to do is go to class. That's the best way to do well. Listen in class, be engaged, take good notes, really listen, and that's one of the best ways for you to have the first step of learning the material. Ask questions, answer questions, get to know your faculty member in class, before class, after class, go to office hours. That's where you can ask your professor about something you're not sure about in class to clarify material that might be on the exam, or if you're writing a paper, how to best write the paper, or different topics that you want to discuss on the paper and so forth. So make sure you get to know your faculty member. When you go to class, really listen, be engaged, take the notes, and then when you leave class, rewrite those notes. Studies have shown that by rewriting your notes, it is a really good way of helping form the short-term memory into long-term memory. And don't do it by retyping your notes on the computer. That does not work as well as taking an actual pen or pencil to paper and rewriting your notes. One of the things is not only does it help with having the short-term memory become long-term memory, but the second thing is it allows you to see where the holes might be. So maybe you didn't write something clearly down, maybe your spelling wasn't right and you can't remember what you were trying to say. Maybe you realize that there's a part of the material you don't know well. This is a good opportunity to learn the material and also then go and follow through by going to the textbook, going to the professor, asking and doing research and figuring out what the answer is. This is much more help than putting the notes aside and not looking again until 3 weeks later, right before the exam, and then you can't remember what you were talking about, what you were thinking about. By rewriting the notes and looking them over every couple of days, you're never having to cram your studying because you're always studying a little bit, and you also then can take the time to figure out what you don't know, what you do know, and be able to ask questions. So that's definitely do. What you should do, go to class, take notes, rewrite your notes, and then constantly study. A little bit every day or a little bit every couple of days is way more effective than taking an hour to like a day and a half or 2 days or the weekend before your Monday exam and studying right that way. The cramming never works as well as slowly learning it every day, and then it doesn't feel as daunting, because if you're only spending a little bit every day studying, and it's more effective than cramming, it's also more relaxed and it's an easier way to be successful. Okay. Reaching out to your faculty members. So on your first day of class, you're going to get the syllabus, and you also will probably most likely have your syllabus on the system we use called Blackboard. Always check your Blackboard. Blackboard will have maybe discussion posts, your syllabus, assignments. Some professors might use Blackboard to give quizzes and so forth. So if you're make sure you're connected to your Blackboard, you have access to your Blackboard, and the Blackboard makes sense. If not, ask your faculty member. The first day that you get your syllabus, any assignment due, whether it's a paper, a quiz, an exam, whatever, discussion post, whatever it is, put that in your calendar. Whether your calendar is a paper calendar, your cell phone, a post-it note system on your wall, whatever it is, make sure you have everything written down. So this way you'll never forget an assignment. You won't, because it's on your calendar, and you're going to look at your calendar every day, say, okay, this is what I have due tomorrow, this is what I have due next week, and this way you're going to always stay track. If, let's say, you have questions about the syllabus or about Blackboard, make sure you reach out to your faculty member. So the professor will have office hours on the syllabus. Go meet your faculty member. I know some students are nervous about that, don't like that, they're afraid. Please don't be afraid. Faculty actually like to meet students. We like to talk to you, and we like to get to know you, and we want to be helpful. So check out the office hours and make sure you visit the professor. If, let's say, the office hours don't fit your schedule, you can email the faculty member and see if you can make another appointment another time other than the office hours. If, let's say, you are really just nervous about meeting the faculty member in person, please, first of all, no, you shouldn't be, but if you still are, then email the professor and email them and ask questions that way, or ask them questions in class, and this way you can still have that relationship and get to know your faculty member, but you don't have to have the intimidation of the meeting in person. But please don't be intimidated, okay? But just in case you are, those are workarounds. It's really good to get to know your faculty, especially in your subject area, for a couple of reasons. One, they are the ones who can let you know of maybe some job opportunities, internship opportunities, research opportunities, but also those are the faculty who are most likely going to be the ones who write your recommendations. And when you want to apply for a job or graduate school, you want a rich recommendation. And the rich recommendation is someone who knows you well. And so the way you get to know that faculty member is by going to office hours, getting to know them, and over the years, they'll get to know you. And so when you go to them and say, hey, can you write a recommendation for me? They could say, yes, I know you so well. We've been talking for the past 2 years or whatever it is, and I've gotten to know you over office hours. It's a much better, richer recommendation than a faculty member said, I met the student, they went to class, they did well. So it's always an advantage to get to know your faculty member in office hours, so you can have be able to ask questions over the material, but also maybe have them write a recommendation for you in the future. Okay, so those are some of the ways that you can be academically successful. Go to class, rewrite your notes, study. Okay, so we do have a lot of resources to help you out. So some of you might be a procrastinator. Some of you might not know the best way to study. I hear students say to me, I can't take standardized exams. It's not true. It's not that you can't, you just don't know how to. So you might have to learn how to study. You might have to learn how to take a standardized exam. Some people could have better time management and managing their calendar. If any of those things are an issue for you, we have in the AAC what is known as academic coaches. Academic coaches, you can meet with them once a week, you can meet with them once a semester, you can meet with them once a month. But all these resources are part of your tuition, they're part of the Academic Achievement Center. You can make an appointment with an academic coach and ask them to help you for study skills, time management, procrastination, all these different subjects. An advisor is through the Academic Achievement Center. So your first semester, you're going to have an advisor through the Academic Achievement Center, and they're a really good point person for you to ask questions. So the advisor is the one who's going to help you figure out your classes and help make sure that you're doing well academically. But let's say you have a question about financial aid, or you have a question about residence life and you don't know who to go to, you can always go to your advisor and they can then direct you to the right office person, so forth, that you need. So they're a good point person, so to ask questions, so to get you to where you need to go. Okay. We also have tutoring in the Academic Achievement Center. So tutoring, we have a math studio, a writing studio that can help you in your English 101 and 102 classes, your first year seminar. Even if it's a history class that has a paper, you can submit those papers to the writing studio and they can help you with those papers. The math studio can help you with various levels of math, and we also have Tutoring Central. And most introductory classes, or many introductory classes, are offered. Tutoring is offered through Tutoring Central. Again, you can make an appointment. You can make an appointment once a week. You can make an appointment once a month. You can make it as needed. And so these are all resources available in the AAC. The last resource is the Student Accessibility Service Office. So if you need any learning or medical accommodations, they're a great team and they can support you and help you with your needs and make sure that you are academically successful. We also have a lot of other offices, such as career services, internship, research offices I mentioned before. When you're ready and you have questions about those offices, you can ask your advisor, you can reach out on the website to those websites and reach out to those offices and ask them for your help. One little tip I'm going to also give you, if you want to learn how to study better, there's a book called Teach Yourself to Learn by Sandra McGuire, and I recommend it. It's a short book. It's a really helpful book. The BSU library actually offers it, so you can take it out of the BSU library. But if you want to do some reading before the summer ends and the semester begins, that's a good quick book to read, so I'm going to recommend that. Other than that, I just want to say welcome to BSU. You are now officially Bears, so welcome Bears. We look forward to seeing you in the fall and seeing you on campus. Thanks. Bye.
All right, so let me just switch over to our presentation again. Give me 1 second, everyone. I hope that you all learned something from Professor Adams. She has some great, very helpful advice for you all. We just have a couple more things for you. So let me hop on over. All right, so this is the end of Bare Essentials. Thank you all for coming today. Please take a 30 seconds. Matt is going to put the link in the chat for our attendance form. This is helpful for us to know that you came. And if there's any follow-up information that we have for you, please go take a couple minutes to, or it won't even take you a couple minutes, to click that link and fill in the 3 questions that we have on the form. We're just asking for your full name, your banner ID, and your BSU email. Please make sure your banner ID and email is correct. Once, make sure you click submit on that form and that you see this, your response has been recorded. That helps us know that you were here. And again, like I said, if we have any follow-up information, we can send that over to you. But that's really all we have today.